Lakeisha.
Nice to meet you all. Alex Demou, Legislative Affairs Director for the Department of Higher Education. Wonderful to meet you all. What can I help you with?
How to make college free?
That's a big question. Money, first of all. That's the driving goal. I'm sure a lot of may or may not have heard. In the state budget this year, there's free community college for all. That's going to be potentially a item that was passed into the budget. It was about 117 some odd $1 million investment by the state this year to make free community college available to all people in the Commonwealth.
Is that just for an associate's degree or any degree?
Associate's only. The cost for a 4-year degree is significantly more, but we're in a really good place right now in the state because we have access to a lot of funding through the Fair Share Amendment, which is a tax on income over $1 million. So there's an excess tax on top of it. If you make more than $1 million a year, on top of this state mandated 5.5 some odd percent, there's another 4% on top of that. So that money is targeted through the law, through the constitutional amendment, that it goes into a trust fund specifically for education and transportation. Right now, the first 2 years we've played with it, we've had access to this funding. We're looking at the first year was a little over $1.2 billion in additional revenue. This year was even higher. I think we're close to 1.8 at the moment, 1.8 billion, and there's some forecasting that it might actually get even higher. So really the governor has focused on, and the legislature's kept the split pretty much as the governor's asked, at about a 60-40 split for education. So education typically gets, right around $600 to $700 million, depending on what comes in, directed for education. Now, it's not just all higher education, it's the EEC world, it's K-12 system, and it's us. But right now, higher ed and EEC has benefited the most from Fair Share because K-12 has some other funding formulas through local taxes, Chapter 70 money. So they kind of already have a dedicated revenue source. But but they've also benefited. I won't say they haven't. Free school meals came out of that, so they have benefited as well. So really, it comes down to funding. It's how can we get affordability? How can we keep costs low and control costs and deal with some other secondary issues that drive costs that a lot of people don't think of, like labor contracts. There's a lot of capital debt at our institutions is in the buildings, so that drives costs, and how we can address all of that. That's really where it comes in, and what the total cost is going to be. But that's kind of where we're at.
Do you know how many students every year will just quit school just because they cannot pay for more school after their associate degree?
Because I know I'm about to be one of them.
So the department does track that. I don't know the number off the top of my head, so I don't want to say it, but we do track it, and it's a major concern. Completion is how we can get people to completion is one of the main driving forces that we're trying to address. A lot of the state funding is really where we're kind of trying to leverage state dollars to address that issue. And it's tough because there's different reasons for everyone as to why they financially stop out, essentially. And we're doing everything we can to leverage state resources that come to us through the budget or through other sources to make sure that people stay in school.
So you know how, like, on the application, I filled out when I filled out the application, it was saying like something about the first time graduate or something, like meaning did my mom graduate before I did, and she hasn't. in those situations, can't you guys make it so that education is free besides just the associate's degree? Like if your previous parent hasn't, because if we're trying to like break some type of cycle, which my mom and my dad unfortunately didn't graduate, and here I am, I'm trying to break the cycle, but I don't have the money that allows me to.
Sure.
And then my son, he graduated with his master's degree, but that puts me in debt. Now we both trying to pay for a bill, but now I'm saying to myself, I want to go to school too, but then I got this bill coming in that's saying, hell no, don't go to school.
So that's a great idea, really, truly it is. There's a lot of things that kind of go on behind the scenes, so like we can't just unilaterally make that decision because that's also on the federal government. So like we kind of need alignment between what the feds are doing and what we're doing. So that's why we're trying to target fair share, because it's a first state resource. So we have a lot of flexibility there. But things like maybe a FAFSA or that type of Title IV aid that comes down to us from the federal government, if they don't allow us the flexibility and they have pretty rigid standards. I don't want to speak too much to it because I don't live in the student financial aid world too closely, but there's a broader conversation about how do we allow that to happen and
at least like the first ones to graduate from their house, just to be able to break the cycle and help like the pattern, especially for minorities that don't have a chance, you know.
Gotcha.
This is good though.
15 minutes
This is
per
really
table.
good.
Not 5 minutes. That, right?
We've got everything
And I know you
planned.
have a very captive audience.